Today is a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible day, and I'll tell you why, because it's a Sweden day. 5 cultural shocks about living in Sweden. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
Hey everyone. So,
hello.
A lot of people ask me sometimes, like, what was the things that I reacted the most when I came to Sweden. I've done a few videos about what I hate and what I love about Sweden, but there were a few things that happened that really I would actually describe as a culture shock for me. And those are the 5 things I'm going to talk about in this video.
Good, because I like watching culture shocks. Why? I've watched a lot of culture shock videos, right, on my channel. But every single individual person from different countries, this guy's from Italy apparently, they all have different things that shock them culturally, because when you're from a different country, you have different cultures. Duh. You have different cultures. So like Swedish culture, certain things that you do in Sweden will be different from country to country. So things that will be his culture shocks won't be my culture shocks. Does that make sense? So I'm very interested in this, so let's go.
So the first thing that I remember that happened to me is when I came to Sweden. I started to study Swedish at the university, and I was going out in the evening, Friday evening, with some school friends. The first thing I do was when we get with a cab to the center of the city is that I open the door, because I was outside and other people were gonna come out of the car. So I just opened the door to be nice, and this is something that you normally do in Italy, especially if there are girls in the car, right? You're not gonna try to hit on them, but you're just gonna try to be nice. At least that's how we see it. But when I opened the door, the girl that was inside was a friend of one of my friends, and she was Swedish. She looked at me and said, "You know I can open the door myself." So I was being nice.
The way he had the wig on. Like, you know I can open the door. Do you know what? I love that. See, I love that. To me, that doesn't, you know what I love about Swedes? I love a lot about you, clearly. Is that the independence. The independence. You have an independence where it's like, I can do things myself. And obviously to this woman that he opened the door for, she was like, you don't need to do that. I can do that myself. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's just a cultural difference, like you said, culture shock. In Italy, chivalry, it's called chivalry, isn't it? Well, we call it chivalry in Britain. That is, that's a thing in Italy. That's a gentlemanly thing to do, is to open the door and pull out chairs and do all that sort of thing. We don't really do that in the UK anymore. And Sweden, clearly, you don't do that there. So, hey, it is what it is.
And opening the door, I was being nice to her. That was my first reaction, that why are you doing this? Why are you being so rude to me? But this is actually seen from a Swedish perspective. Swedes are really independent. They like to be independent. They like to do things themselves. They really rarely look for help. And I noticed it later on when I had friends moving, if they were from Spain or Italy or other countries, they would immediately collect all the friends and ask for help. Hey, I'm gonna move, come with me and help me move. I have never heard this from a Swedish person, because you actually do things yourself.
I'm so similar though, guys. That's me. Like, I do things on my own. Like, I would rather just try it out myself and try and figure something out before calling. It would have to be really, really bad. Like, things are just not working out for me to ask for help. And maybe that's not a good thing. Obviously for Swedes, obviously you guys, it's cultural. For me, individual, obviously I'm not a Swede. I think that's just me as a person. It's my temperament. And sometimes I'm like, maybe I should be a bit more collaborative, and I should work with other people, and I should ask for help when I need it. But I just, I don't know. Like, you guys understand. I don't know. Sometimes I was like, I can do it myself. I don't need anyone else. I'm an independent person.
So this is really Swedish, and this to me was a big cultural shock. I was trying to be nice to you. What is this thing? So pretty different cultures from that perspective. The second thing I remember, it was I bought a few years back a motorcycle that I unfortunately don't have anymore. But I traveled a lot with it, and I bought it in Sweden. I bought it here because it's much cheaper to buy it, it's much quicker to buy it. So it was a second hand.
it's cheaper to buy motorcycle in Sweden. Is that true? I'm going to have to look at that. I currently ride a bike, not a motorcycle. Oh, they do call it motorcycles in Asia. But like a scooter, like a little scooter. I ride one of those. I've never I've never got on a motorbike. I think I'm a bit too scared for that. But it's interesting to know that it's cheaper in Sweden from Italy. So maybe it's cheaper in Sweden than in England. Let me know in the comment section what motor vehicle prices are like in Sweden. Maybe that's something I'll explore in another video.
In hand, and these people had a motorcycle, came to my place. What we did is just we took a paper that came with the motorcycle, we just filled in my information and we just put it in a mailbox. And from that moment they said, congratulations, your motorcycle is yours. And I was looking at them like, are you kidding me? How? I said, yeah, but we sent in the paper to the transport agency that says, and now this motorcycle is yours. When they get it, it's registered to your name. But from now on, from the day that is on this paper, it's yours. So now, effectively, it's yours. And that was weird thing number one. But then, okay, a couple of days go, and now I have the motorcycle. So I have to buy an insurance for it. So I just called the insurance and say, hey, I know that you're the cheapest insurance for this motorcycle and I want to get this kind of insurance. And the guy says, all right, then it's done. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean that it's done? Yeah, it's done. Oh, you have an insurance. But yeah, but what am I supposed to do? Nothing. So how can I have an insurance right now? Like, I haven't signed anything. I haven't paid anything. So no, but I put it in the system. So from now on, like, you have a valid insurance on your motorcycle. So, but how do I show it to people? So you don't have to show anything. It's like when the police eventually just check your registration number, it just comes out that your insurance with this kind of insurance and so on.
So I don't have a license in the UK, okay? But I'm pretty sure we have to show that we have insurance. Like, there's like a little like sticker you put on your car to show that your car's been insured. I think that's the case. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure. But that's a really efficient way of doing things. Yeah, like if your car's insured, put in the license plate. There needs to be like there must be a Swedish centralized kind of like system that if you put in someone's registration, it shows that their car's insured. That's a lot easier for us, the consumer, and a lot easier for the police when they're running vehicle checks. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. The like deed to the car, it's like that simple in Thailand, where I used to live, like for a couple of years. Thailand's very much like that. They just like, basically you go and you get a car, they just like swap over. If it's like a pre-owned vehicle, they'll just swap it over, like, and it's like instant. It's not like, do you know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to wait. There's no like, you don't have to sign anything, I don't think. It just happens. It just sounds like Sweden, you're very efficient. So that's a good thing. He seems surprised.
In Italy, you have to have a sticker, like to put it in front of your, not on the motorcycle, but in the car.
Yeah. So it must be the same. Same in England. But that's a lot more efficient. I don't know why we don't do it like you.
Inside of the car. And then but I haven't even paid you. Like, how can you insure me if I haven't paid the money to you? So yeah, but you will get an invoice in the mailbox. It's gonna be the price that we agreed on, and you can pay it within 30 days. So no worries, you're done. And that was so shocking. In Italy, you have to queue, and you have to be in an office, you have to pay for the insurance first, then they process all the paper, and then eventually, after a few days, you will get I can either go and pick it up, or you get at home the specific paper. I don't know if this changed, by the way. It used to be like this just a few years back, talking about 3-4 years back. You actually have the paper that you have to show on the windscreen of the car.
Yeah, windscreen.
So that was such a shock number two. Like I talked about before, the absence of bureaucracy here in Sweden. This is it. I just called, say, hey, I want to insure my motorcycle.
Simple.
This is me. This is the motorcycle, the registration number, and that was done.
I love that. The absence of bureaucracy is the right thing to say. Like it's just things just work a lot more smoothly without hiccups and problems. There's a lot of red tape in a lot of different parts of Europe, especially Western Europe. There's a lot of Germany. Jeez, you listen. I've been learning about Germany. By the way, I've got a second channel. If you guys are interested in my German reactions channel, the link is in the description. Click it at the end of the video and have a look. On that channel, I'm learning about Germany, and there's so much bureaucracy in that country. So much red tape that you have to jump through, like, to get anything done. So, but they're very efficient in the sense of, like, once it's done, it's done. Things work and everything works quite smoothly in Germany. So, there's pros and cons, isn't there? But if it's working in Sweden, then great. Like, awesome.
It was all I had to do. So number 3, this is a huge culture clash between Italy and Sweden.
Right.
And it is that in Sweden, you never take the last piece of a cake. When you have the famous Swedish fika, which is the coffee break, you would have a cake, you would start slicing it in roughly equal parts, and then it would be like the last piece. And nobody, if it's all sweets, nobody will take it. Eventually.
Interesting. That's very, very interesting. I think that's an unwritten rule in most places, or maybe it is a cultural thing, because if he said in Italy, they don't do that. But in the UK, yeah, like when everyone's had like a slice of cake, nobody wants to be the last person to eat the cake. Because it's like, you're the person who's ate the cake. I mean, if someone comes in and didn't get any cake and they see that the cake's gone, they're going to be like, who ate the last piece? And you're going to have to be like, it was me. Who wants to be that person? I don't want to be that person. So yeah, I definitely get that whole thing. I think in the UK, that's just what happens. So yeah, I didn't know that was a cultural thing that we have in common, Sweden. Clearly not in Italy. Clearly they just be eating last pieces of cakes every day. Like, they're not bothered about anyone else.
Eventually, somebody in the end is gonna say, does anybody want to share this with me? You don't say, does anybody want that? Because otherwise.
Yeah. I forgot about that part. We do that as well. Does anyone? There's the last piece. Does anyone want to share? And it doesn't even matter if it's in a workplace or it's with friends or it's with family. It's like, oh, the last piece. Do you want to share the last piece with me? And we'll cut it in half and we'll share it. If that's the case, like if we, wow, maybe it must be. Maybe it's like a, I don't know, Nordic/British Isles thing. But in Italy, look at his face, he's like, we don't do that.
Otherwise, I'm taking it. In Italy, people will kill each other to actually take the extra piece and we try to get as much cake as possible before you get to the last piece, because somebody else can grab it before you. This is absolutely not what happens in Sweden. In Sweden, is actually, you never take the last piece. It's rude. It's considered rude. Of course, if you're in a family, you can do it. That's not what happens. But normally, if you're at work or you're with other people, you never take the last bit. And this is why also Sweden is a paradise for me, because then I take my Italian side out and I always eat the last piece. I said, does anybody want this? And then eventually somebody who knows me said, yeah, I want to share it with you. Just do not allow me to take the full last piece. Now, the number 4 thing is, I've talked about this in a video before, and it was when I was studying at the university, and it's the contrast between Italian and Swedish university. A professor in an Italian university is somebody you don't get close to. Professor is really high up, and you are a nobody as a student. But then I was in Sweden and we needed help. We were going to do an exercise. It was a chemistry exercise and we couldn't really get it done. So a Swedish friend of mine, he just picked up the phone, called the professor at the private number of the professor that he had on a website, and she said, we're down here, we're trying to do this exercise, we're gonna get it. Do you have time? 3 minutes later, this guy was down to the room where we were doing exercise and he spent a half an hour with us, at least a half an hour with us.
That is so good. That's so nice. That's so hands-on. I like that. What other countries like that where there's no hierarchy? Finland is similar as well, isn't it? Finland, in Finland they don't have a hierarchy when it comes to like job roles and all this types of stuff. I'm quite surprised that with Sweden though, I'm surprised that this is the case in Sweden as well. The only reason why I say this is because in the UK, because we're a theory of mine is, because we're a monarchy, we're very used to hierarchies in England. Very much so. We love to know what's your position, where do you stand in society, what's your class, what class are you? And we don't ask that question, but we just kind of assess people individually and just put them in a class. A class, just any class. So we were very, very much a hierarchy, can't even say the word, system in the UK. And I thought it was to do with the fact that we have a monarchy. But clearly, you're a monarchy. And you guys don't do that. So I'm really impressed. I think it's a better way to be that there's no one, you don't look at someone that's above you as above you. Clearly they are above you in terms of, you know, seniority, but they're not, you guys see each other as equal and you don't see yourself better than other people. And that is a better way of being. Absolutely. That's incredible. Very impressed. I've said this before about Sweden and and Finland. I find that that's how it should be everywhere. So that's pretty good.
Just going through all the exercise and explaining everything like fully from scratch. We called him and he stopped whatever he was doing to come to us and help us fix whatever we needed help with.
So nice.
This is just unheard of. And maybe this professor was extremely nice, but this is, just to say the least, a cultural shock for me. In Italy, you would probably have, each professor would have 1 hour a week or 2 hours a week that they receive students to help them, and you would be there queuing, and most of the time you get there, maybe you travel 2 hours to get to the university because you live in another city, and you be there, you wait for hours, and then all of a sudden say, hey, but the professor's not here. Has anybody seen the professor? Says,
I don't understand that though, that type of way of being, in the sense of like, if you're a professor and you have a cohort of students who are studying, are you not incentivized for your students to do well? Because if your students do well, that reflects on you, right? I don't know, like, you know, it reflects on you. So why would you not be there whenever they need you? Because if they do well, you do well. It's basically a give and take. So, yeah, don't know why in certain other countries, England, Italy, that, you know, professors don't do that, and not like in Sweden.
She said, no, he or she is not here today. All right, then go back home and try next week. Maybe you're gonna get luckier. That's just a completely different universe here. It feels like professor is actually almost a step below the students, where the students actually matter more, and the professor is there to help them accomplish everything they want to do. So, really nice if you're a student to come to Sweden. And I actually think it's better if you're a professor to come to Sweden. It's much nicer. And then finally, fifth thing. This was weird. I was invited at a Swedish birthday. And Swedes already know where I'm going with this. Moment of the cake. The cake comes in, and I was waiting to start singing at the normal happy birthday version, which is the normal happy birthday to you. And I start singing this song while everybody starts singing this.
Ja må du leva, ja må du leva, ja må du leva ut i 100 år.
Wait, hold on, what? Sorry? How did I not know this? Wait, what? You have a different happy birthday song? You have a different happy birthday? Guys, how did I not know this? I've been literally learning about Sweden for like nearly over a year. No, over a year. And I didn't know you had a different happy birthday song. That is so unique. And the reason why I say this, and I feel like the happy birthday song is translated into multiple languages around the world. They sing that happy birthday song, maybe not the English words, but in different languages all around the world. You have your own happy birthday song. Ja, Madaliva. Yes, may you live. It's a celebration of life. That's awesome. What? How did I not know this? I didn't know this. I need to hear this song now. I need to hear the entire song now.
Må du leva, ja må du leva ut i 100 år. Ja visst ska du leva, ja visst ska du leva. Ja visst ska du leva ut i 100 år.
And this was the shocking thing I've ever had. What is this song? And I don't know if there are other Nordic countries who have versions of this song, but this...
Yeah, I need to know. Finland, because I know some of my Finnish people, you watch this, my Danish people, Norwegian people. Let me know in the comment section if you also have your own happy birthday song, because this has blown my mind, because I thought everyone sung happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to... I thought everyone sang that song. Shocking.
This is the actually happy birthday song in Sweden. So you have to learn that. There's nothing else to do, and for many years I actually felt super weird singing the Jag må han hon leva, just because it's, what is this? Why don't you homogenize with other people? But at the same time I kind of like it, because Sweden has its own version. Swedes have their version and they keep doing it. Why should we?
I won't call it a version. I'll just say you guys have your own song. Like, it's not a version of Happy Birthday to You. It's a different song. Like, you literally have your own Happy Birthday song. Love it.
Sing something that I don't know where it comes from. Most likely from English. I don't know where the other version come from. The more established version in other countries come from. So this was the 5 strangest things. I would say the 5 culture shock that I had while in Sweden. There were more, but this is definitely the one that stepped up for me. So let me know what you think about this. Is it so weird, or do you think that it's actually better that there's those differences? And what do you agree most? Like, is there anything you reacted in this list?
I'm really happy I did this video, because I've done a lot of culture shock videos and I was a bit worried that this was just going to be exactly the same 5 culture shocks, but these culture shocks are completely different from what I've watched before, so I'm very happy about that. I don't know, a lot of these ones shocked me, I'm not gonna lie, but Happy Birthday one, what? You don't sing Happy Birthday? You sing your own song. I need to check out that song. I need to check out that song in another video. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.